Okay, the convoluted mess I'm using because somebody can't write programs. Now, it is not easy writing a piece of software to make it to where your face comes up on your computer screen with the image flipped and be able to record it and compress it using some sort of compressor so it doesn't take 4 hours to upload a 15-minute video, or in my case, a 4-minute video because it decided to make an 8 gigabyte file. But the software I'm using now consists of a program originally that was 1 or 2 megabytes across and would actually let you flip an image if it was hardware enabled. This is a newer version that's larger. It's 4 megabytes, but it flips it left to right. And all it does is put it up on the screen. And then I'm using HyperCam 2 to grab a screen grab of this. And yes, eventually this demo version of AMCAP by the guy who wrote it, by using an example file from Microsoft Corporation's software for making programs, eventually this thing will put up an error message saying, register your shareware. On my right, I have a 15-minute countdown timer I'm using because it does not include a timer in the screen of any value. And again, I can't use it to record because it won't use any encoder. Now, why is that? Well, video and audio compressors have to be set to work correctly with your processor speed, any kind of acceleration that's available in the video or even the video camera, and then it has to compress it. They're compressors, which means it has to unpack, reorganize, and repack everything on the fly. And yes, in the past you had probably a Logitech webcam, the eyeball cam everybody had, if you're old enough, and it worked just fine. And it would work through a dog-slow connection because it compressed it originally, and when you got it, it was an MPEG compressed video at 320 by 240 or 640 by 480 with a bad frame rate. You could pick high color or high frame rate, higher, or high pixel count, but not all at the same time. This is doing a screen grabber that has been told to do this is a 8-bit interpolated video that started off 24-bit video. It does that automatically. It grabs each frame, and I've told it to do the maximum number of frames it can do today. The first one I did, it would do 15 frames a second. This one is doing 13. Okay. Now I'm watching a countdown timer instead of a counting timer, a real timer, because I have a portable app for this. So the arrangement here is 2 pieces of software, and I'm going to very carefully try and pause this and read the task manager, because I have a pause recording. I have the ability to pause this because it's screen grabbing it and just, again, it's doing yet another layer. It's doing editing on the fly. So it is actually quite difficult to do this, conceptually. The computer I'm using has got 4 or 8 gigs of RAM in it, and it's running 2 gigahertz, and it finds a way to crash unnecessarily while doing something that you literally were able to do on a 486DX 66 megahertz at one time. We have dumbed down our software and hardware and lowered our standards. I swear to God, if I was running a Windows 98 machine and using some old software that was optimized for the older equipment and just got a computer that was able to do the same functions just faster, this probably wouldn't be a problem. There were hardware level MPEG compressors. They were for video compression, for doing TV and video grabs off of cable. And I had one, and it would compress the living crap out of stuff almost instantaneously because it was hardware level based compression. It would feed in everything analog, clean it up as much as it could, quantize or whatever, and then feed it into a computer routine made incarnate by running it through logic gates, because at that point it converted it from analog computer, which is fast as hell, to digital computer, which was just fast enough to do the job. It would screw up. It was quirky. But it would do a TV set resolution image, which is approximately 640 by 480, and do a decent job. The reason I do potato cam videos is 2 reasons. One, it shouldn't be able to fail to do this if it's a potato cam video. It shouldn't. There's no goddamn reason for it. No technical reason, as I say. And the next reason is that way I can get my pet peeves out of the way. I need to be able to see me on screen so I know I'm in the camera view. I'm not trying to look at myself. I'm not into myself. But I Google myself. Also, when I talk, it should synchronize the audio because there's no damn excuse for that. I'm sorry, this is, it's the current year. It shouldn't be a problem. Audio and video should be forced to be synced. The camera I'm using has the microphone built into it. It's not supposed to be able to desync. And it streams the data in a way that should come out at 1024 by 768 and all the way down. It's a high-resolution video camera. But that's for still frames. For moving frames, it's actually 640 by 480 like every one of the others. The reason for that is for consumer-grade stuff, that's good enough. Now I'm going to bring up the task manager. I'm going to pause the video. And fail to pause. So anyway, here we go. I've now got the task manager below. God help us all, I'm pushing it. So how much RAM is this program AMCAP, the one that can just flip a video, using? 38 megabytes. Okay. The Hypercam, that's Hypercam? Yeah. He's using 18 megabytes. Now, the original program I was using came with the camera on my older computer. It would consume basically the same amount of memory space. The computer routine I used to use to throw a video on the screen while using a capture card, so I could just use the computer as the TV set, so I didn't have to buy two things and own two TV sets. That was insanely high resolution because it used analog computer, aka comb filters and cleanups and effects to clean up the video to where we could freeze frame an image off of a video recorder because it did frame by frame grab because it had a frame buffer. It was hardware based, and you could put it anywhere on the screen you wanted to, and you could flip it left or right or whatever you wanted to. Because it was analog signals, it would just put them in the buffer and play them back the wrong way if you wanted to. It could stretch them and compress them and all sorts of things. That's analog. Analog computers like that take up boards this big. I mean, they're a little bit over the top designs. That's analog part of it. And the digital part was literally on the other side of the circuit board for technical reasons. Took up two slots, and it would do the job. And I miss it. Old, clunky, stupid. Ran on a 386SX 16 megahertz because it didn't need the computer for anything except to position the window. But I could rip movies on it. Fully rip a movie. Because it would dump it raw if I had enough hard drive space. 500 megabytes was just enough space to compress something to DivX format. But I'd have to use a 4 gig. Yeah, an array of hard drive spaces because you had to use two gigabyte partitions. I remember doing this. It's sort of like flipping the tape over. And then it would go through the compression algorithm for about an hour and compact it down. DVDs were much more difficult, even though they were pure digital. Now, you're watching me on YouTube. Nobody needs to do this crap anymore. So the hardware's gone. Your cell phone does all of it through a pre-processing circuit. So, now that I've wasted your time, I'm going to be doing an experiment where I make my own webcam recorder because it's no point in me saying this is there's no technical reason for this if I'm not willing to do it. So I'm going to download the same utilities and the same program builders that were used to build this thing originally and actually use it to build one if I can. I'm going to see if I can do it. Because I shouldn't be criticizing somebody. Noel did a decent job. It's just that it's antagonizing me. The people who wrote the webcam that came with my computer, it works fine. It just won't compress because it's a pain in the ass to do. Which means I'd have to pick a single compressor that would be as universal as possible and give you varying levels of compression, old school style. Do you want good frame rate? Do you want good quality? You can have any one of these things, but not all of them. So that it won't crash, so they can do frame rate it you want, or do the quality you want, or compact the hell out of it. Or I'll give up and not even bring it up again because honestly there's no point in doing an update if I can't do it. The closest I've come to is making a web page that repeats whatever's on the computer screen from the camera. And it'll flip it, and it's 80 lines of code. I mean, it's not that... I can even make it into a single text file. I might actually do that because it should be. It shouldn't be external files. Here's the problem though. every web browser is programmed to refuse to run it these days because you're not allowed to use this locally on your computer. You're only allowed to use it over the internet, so that it's more secure over the internet, which is horseshit. But writing it as an app, or building a piece of software to do this on the screen, which will take up less RAM and be special purpose, may be a better idea. I don't know if I can do this. I haven't written proper programs in a long time. Anyway, this is the video I'm uploading to test to see if this thing will crap out during a 15-minute video. That's why I'm doing it. I have no idea when it'll crap out. It will. It'll eventually go bonk and cover up the screen. And I'll have to pause it. I have a pause button for that so I can restart that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. And thanks for listening to me complain and whine here. I'm just going to upload this on one of the channels that has the least amount of videos on it, just so I can say, hi, I'm still here. Well, I do thank you. And have a good day. Good luck with that. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this doesn't crash when I hit stop.